It was another quiet night
here
at
we
the
go.
office. No phone calls, no messages. Nothing but junk mail and overdue bills to keep me company. Seems nobody wants to hire a real private dick anymore. A professional like me. A guy who does the detective work nobody else wants to do. A guy who wears hats and walks around in a black and white world. I began contemplating a more profitable line of work, like politics.
We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks. Good afternoon and welcome to the Monday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti. Actually, we are talking. It's politically talking with Senator Mike Moore. It is the first Monday of the month, and that's what we do. It used to be Saturday, so welcome, Senator Moore.
Thank you. Doesn't it seem longer than the first Monday?
Meaning since last time we talked? It
Well,
does,
yeah.
actually. I was going to say the same thing. It's like, oh, yeah, it's politically talking with Mike Moore today. It felt like, I don't know, the last couple of months. Maybe it's the transition into spring and some items.
And we even did the last show later. Remember, we did one.
Oh, actually, yeah, I don't remember. We didn't do it on the normal one. We did.
Yeah.
But we've got it. Yeah, you got to talk into the mic.
Is that better? Okay.
Wow, I can hear you echoing in the control room, man. All right, let's do some housekeeping, folks, politically speaking. So the Joe Mangiacotti Show is now Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, Sunday mornings also at 6 a.m., weekdays at 1. But the first Monday, we used to do it Saturdays. And the first Monday, we go to Politically Speaking with Senator Mike Moore, who joins us. He is a sitting state senator, and that's Worcester's 2nd. And he comes in here to let us know what's happening on Beacon Hill and gives you an opportunity to ask a member of the state legislature what the vibe is and what's going on up there, what's up for debate, what we can see going through the House and the Senate and being voted on. To join the conversation, it's 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. You can also text us on our text line, 617-297-8388. We also have that tied to an email. So if you don't have a phone and you can't text, you can simply email Text Joe on the Radio. Cool how we call it, exactly what you're doing. Text Joe on the Radio at gmail.com, and it appears on the same screen in real time. And don't forget, we are live streaming the show on my social media platforms. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and even Twitch TV. Why are we on Twitch TV?
I don't know. Why?
I don't know why we're on Twitch TV, but we are. And it's under Joe M. Show on Twitch TV. So you have multiple ways if you want to peek into Twitch, not Tricks. That's a whole different channel.
Okay.
No, Twitch TV. And this is a channel that's real big. It could be anything you can put on it, but it's really big for the gamers.
Okay.
And apparently the gamers have a whole cottage industry of people watching them play. So they stream themselves playing these well-known video games, and they can have literally thousands, hundreds of thousands of people watching them play a video game. I don't get it either, but they also then monetize that.
Okay.
They get sponsors, and of course, if you have 100,000 or 200,000 people looking at your stream, you can instantly, charge for that, right? You're going to get money for it. So anyway, good to them. We're playing the game of politics here. I would suggest, or I would think that most people who are watching Twitch probably couldn't keep up with this game of politics.
No, I don't think they'd want to.
I don't think they want to. It's easy to shoot the whatever you're shooting in the video game. 508-871-7000 and to join the conversation. And it does feel like it's been a while since we've talked. So catch us up. We last time I remember, we did go over the budget a little bit, and there was some. What was it? There was a question. The money coming in from the feds equals a lot of money, and how did they calculate that, Senator? Do they do it by population of states, or how do the feds decide?
There's a formula the federal government used on the disbursement of money going back to each state. Now we've got two different allocations. We've got the first one that happened during COVID, which the state received about $5 billion. We've already dispersed $2.5 billion of that back to the cities and towns. We've got another $2.5 billion that we have to disperse. Then we just got this past January, we received about another $12 billion. Wow. But it's strictly for infrastructure. Now that we haven't got an official breakdown yet from the administration on the disbursement methods that we
Yeah.
need to utilize that for.
Yeah.
But where we're sitting right now is outside of the budget, which the Senate just completed. We have the $2.5 billion. We've got close to, I think they're saying we're possibly looking at another $2 billion surplus coming up at the end of this fiscal year.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
other than the federal money, our revenues have actually been healthy even through the pandemic, and that's surprising to most.
Yeah, when the pandemic first hit, we had the outside experts.
Yeah.
That were telling us to expect anywhere from a $6 to $7 billion deficit. Well, that didn't materialize, and we ended up having about a $1.5 billion surplus. That was last fiscal year. So now this fiscal year, we are, if the revenues keep coming in as expected over the last, I guess over the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that's when the fiscal year ends, June 30th, we could be looking at over $2 billion in surplus.
And meanwhile, we have replenished the rainy day fund.
Our rainy day fund is a little over $6 billion.
Yeah.
So we have one of the highest rainy day funds in the state. Basically, after the last Great Recession, the Massachusetts actually had over $2 billion. But we all saw how fast that money was being depleted, the bond rating companies pretty much went back to every state and said, based on a bond rating, they would like to see the states having approximately about 10% of what their overall budget is in a rainy day. So right now, our budget that we just passed was $49 billion, just under $49.78 billion. So just under $50 billion. So we're a little over 10% in our rainy day fund, so for the bond rating factor, keeps our bond rating high,
right?
Which, as you know, and I think a lot of the listeners know, that allows us to borrow money with a lower interest.
They gotta love Massachusetts if we're exceeding estimated revenues, and we have this very healthy rainy day budget. At first glance, anyway, it looks like we're fiscally responsible, and we have our house in order, which has to, is going to help out on the interest rates that we pay, loans that we can take, and that's good stuff.
And if you outside of the cost of living, which we all know, there are factors that we can't control on the state level that we can't control. If you were looking at that, you would, just as you said, you would look at us and say, we have a great balance sheet. But the one problem we have right now is the fact, just like every other state in the country, we have industries that are looking for more employees. I think that's the biggest detriment right now to any state economy, is that
finding the help, and then when you find the help,
employers can't hire people.
Right, and the wages that people are expecting. Some businesses, a coffee shop can't pay you $28 an hour. They just, they can't do it and stay open.
But what's interesting is we have a lot of small businesses that prior to this that
were raising wages
that weren't happy with the minimum wage that has increases that they have felt. The minimum wage, now that a lot of these industries had, they're not even paying
the
that.
market has blew that away.
Right. Yeah, they're already paying above that.
And I always said the best minimum wage is a healthy, robust economy, because that with low unemployment is going to, cause that to raise by the free enterprise, by the free market, right? So if we have a good economy, low unemployment, wages are going to rise. They're going to blow that like they did. Now, the one other thing, though, I got to go back to
the mic in front of your face.
It is in front of my face. The other thing is that the gas tax holiday failed.
Yes.
Okay. So that, a lot of people are going to ask about that. Like, okay, that failed, and that could have been 24 cents and change, almost 25 cents. Yep. That would be a huge relief to the average person who has to, I put gas in the other day, $121. We're talking, it was $5.17 or something like that. And
well, all I can tell you is you're preaching to the choir, because I did vote for that.
Yeah, you did.
I did vote for that suspension.
Why do you think that failed?
Well, that one argument used was the bond rating companies, that right now we have that money that's dedicated to road improvements.
Yeah.
That could jeopardize the bond rating. My counter, and I think many of my colleagues who also countered the fact that, okay, but we've got $2 billion in surplus that we're looking at.
Exactly.
Why can't we just dedicate that revenue stream to what we are taking out of the revenue from the gas tax?
Right. And give it well-deserved
right.
relief.
So that wasn't, and there's a lot of factors. I mean, you can have someone, you can have a single person who's making a decent income, or people that are married with a couple of kids,
right,
traveling long distances, and there's a big impact on their.
Absolutely. All right, folks, we're talking to Senator Mike Moore, who is the second Worcester State.
You may have to repeat this because I'm not hearing anything in these things. So,
really, turn it up just a little bit, but don't blow me out.
Well,
there you go. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Let's go to the phones. Mark has been waiting patiently. Hey, Mark, good afternoon. You're on with Senator Moore and myself.
Good afternoon, Joe, and good afternoon, Senator Moore.
Good afternoon.
From what I understand, I guess it's pretty much a done deal that the undocumented foreign nationals will be getting licenses issued to them by the state of Massachusetts. Brilliant move. Brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
The House did pass it. The Senate voted on it, I think, 2 weeks ago, or maybe no, actually the beginning of May. We voted on it, and we sent it to the governor's desk. There was a lot of, I wouldn't say my office received emails from constituents, and the ratio was 85-15 in favor of this. I actually had a lot of concerns with it initially.
30 seconds.
What actually brought my vote over to voting with this amendment was that we received correspondence from the Mass Large City Chiefs of Police and the District Attorneys Association of Mass that they were in favor of this legislation, so that they would know.
Here comes the music.
Yeah. We got to take a break. We're against the clock, folks. Can't control the time. It is what it is. You're listening to Politically Speaking with State Senator Mike Moore. I'm Joe Mangiacotti. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Stick with us. We'll be back on the other side. Are you really hearing? Really? Because what you turn up to be normal is blowing me. Like,
Senator, can you hear me?
Is the Tony
You got to put the microphone between you and Joe. Otherwise, you're not speaking into the mic.
The Washington Post cheers. It's a funny fish.
But you look at him. It's natural.
Charm.
We all do that. So
The 10-time
I can't hear you now. No, you got to be on the mic.
The band's visit.
Coming to the Hanover Theater June 16th through 19th. Tickets available now
this
at
is your ear.
thehanovertheater.org.
Joe, why don't you see if he's plugged in?
WCRN.
He is plugged in.
If you're retired or stay at home mom looking to make a few extra dollars, this opportunity is perfect for you. Work part-time.
Can you hear me now?
It's fun.
You're only hearing it out of the right.
Can you hear me now?
I think it's the headphone.
If you're outgoing, not afraid to learn new things, and would like to earn some extra money, call me at 508-870-5803, extension 222. Stop making money selling radio.
WCRN is an equal opportunity employer.
Shining Rock Golf Club of Northbridge
1
is
minute.
a shining example of excellence in golf. Shining Rock Golf Club's highest priority is your golf experience, and their award-winning 18-hole luxury and challenging golf course will deliver. And for shining moments and memorable events, the Shining Rock Golf Club of Northbridge delivers again. Plan your next tournament, fundraiser, or corporate event at Shining Rock Golf Club. Events and budgets of all sizes are welcome. Shining Rock Golf Club Pro Shop, Driving Range, and Bar and Grill are fully open for the season. For the very best in golf, with friendly, experienced service, visit Shining Rock Golf Club of Northbridge, a shining example of excellence in golf. Call 508-234-0400. That's 508-234-0400. On the web at Shining Rock.
Yeah, okay, so it's a headset.
Shining Rock Golf Club of Northbridge.
This is the Joe Mangiacotti Show.
Yeah, I can look at this one.
Show. You want to know? It's time to talk to Joe.
All right, folks, welcome back to the second segment of the Monday edition. But this is politically speaking, or politically talking with, no, politically speaking, with Senator Mike Moore, who's Worcester's second. And we're talking a little bit about the budget. We're on the allocation, but the amount of money that the Commonwealth has received from the feds is impressive. It has
Pull the mic
given
towards
us
you.
an additional amount of excess revenue. And the topic we were talking about, folks, before going into the break, and the caller brought it up. Well, no, the caller brought up their licenses. I brought up the tax relief, and the fact that the Fed tax is about 18 cents. And when we say these numbers, you always add it's at 9/10, right? So it's really 19 cents. And Massachusetts puts basically 25 cents on every gallon of gas. And that would be a huge difference. That would really give relief. You voted for it, but you were explaining that it didn't make it. But the feedback to your office, you were saying, what, 85 to 15?
Well, that was on the licenses.
Okay, all right.
On the licenses.
All right. What was the feedback on the gas tax relief?
I don't remember the percentage that we had. It wasn't. I don't think we got a lot of emails on that where it was coming up as a budget amendment. The other issue was a standalone bill. But I don't remember getting a lot of emails on it. But I can tell you the emails that we did get were all in favor of a suspension. Yes.
But yet it didn't go through.
Yeah. But now you got to remember, I'm talking my district.
Yeah.
So I heard from my district.
Yeah.
I don't know what other senators heard. I think there were if you look back there, the vote, I'm going to say it was probably the 8 or 9 Democrats that you would consider the ones who were more the moderate, Central Mass, and these other types of Democrats who were out this way that voted in favor of the gas tax suspension.
Well, and
I think
we drive.
I was just going to say, and I think that's part of the issue is the fact that some of my colleagues that were saying, some were saying, well, it's a gimmick. Some were saying it doesn't really amount to a lot. But my comeback to that is, look, if you got a family, you have a couple kids, you got the driving you're doing, taking them around, you got the driving back and forth to work. If you're saving someone $50 to $100 a week, especially with the cost of living, that's right. It's not a gimmick.
That's not a gimmick. That means something in that, and for that paycheck to paycheck family.
But we did get a commitment from the Senate leadership, and it's been echoed by the House leadership in some media outlets that we will be doing a tax reduction piece of legislation before the end of this session. So hopefully between now and the end of July, you will see a piece of legislation coming out that will be offering tax reduction.
Mm-hmm.
So
now, didn't the feds also, and the other thing, just on whoever gave you the thing about it, if it doesn't amount to that much, then why not do it then? I mean, that in the defense for it is, oh, it doesn't amount to that much. Well, then what's your problem with it? If you think it doesn't amount to that much, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like go ahead and do it, because it's a real relief.
I agree, but their fallback kept going to the fact that it could affect our bond rating, which now, again, I'm not with the bond rating company, but I would think, and myself and other colleagues had stated that, we did.
You're in a position to give relief to your citizens.
But you're in the position to give some relief in the time that they need it. But also we had the revenue coming in above and beyond expectation that we could dedicate towards that. Towards that suspension. So I am all on board with that. Yeah. So now I'm hoping that we will see other types of relief in this tax reduction bill that's going to be coming
forward. Did the feds put a caveat on some of this money? It can't be used for tax relief?
You're right. Yeah. Now the federal money, yes. I'm talking just talking state revenue.
What I'm saying. But
so the federal money, yes, we can't. They can't be used to supplant money, or it can't be used.
And what do you think the thought process is there? Oh, that might be a good thing.
Well, because in theory, the money is supposed to be built to help states who were having problems meeting their budget obligations due to the pandemic. Because again, the economy was expected to tank.
Right.
It didn't. And then the additional money coming in is supposed to be actually to build help with the infrastructure that the states just can't.
Yeah, that whole infrastructure, because that has gotten broader and broader. But we need to go to the phones, folks, to join the conversation. 508-871-7000. That's 508-871-7000. Let's go to the phone. Joe has been waiting patiently. Hey, good afternoon, Joe. You're on with Senator Mike Moore and myself.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, Joe, and good afternoon, Senator Moore. And Senator Moore, thank you for putting yourself out there.
Thank you.
Thank you. A couple of things about the licenses for illegals.
Yes.
I feel as if that might have been something a little too generous to people that have broken our laws, but I can understand the ratio of people for it in your district, because I think that actually highlights how many illegals are actually in your district. So although I'm not surprised by that and by the Police Chiefs Association going along with it, because we know that a lot of police stations have become very politicized lately, so I'm not surprised about that recommendation. But I'd like to make a comment on the gas tax.
Sure.
That didn't get passed. Although it might have been a great gesture, it amounts to crumbs. And I mean, $2 a week, $3 a week, maybe. I don't think that was something that, would have benefited us greatly, although it would have been a great gesture, but it just proves that, we're struggling out here and no one's hearing us.
Well, I think
one of the queen, and I'll hang up and I'll close by this. Is there any oversight to the money that's going out to these cities and towns? Because the last time stimuluses got put out to these cities and towns, the money never reached past the front door of the town hall or the city hall, and it never got to the residents. And I'm wondering if there's any type of oversight to make sure that we are actually benefiting from some of this surplus.
There is an oversight group or committee that was established by legislation, so that is supposed to be happening. And going back to the gas tax, I agree with you. Yes, it may not have been a windfall for the taxpayers, but in agreement again with you, at least it would have shown that the legislature and that your elected officials are listening and are in touch with what's going on in everyone's everyday life. The fact that we could have, and I guess to me, it would have just been a start. It would have been a start of us showing our voters and our workers and our families that we haven't forgotten about you. We understand that you're going through some tough times, that we have a cost of living issue right now, so the inflation issue. So I think it would have been a start, and it would have been a feeling, hopefully, back in everyone's district that you do have legislators that understand that this is just the beginning, and we need to help provide some relief. So I do look. It's not something that would have been a windfall, but I do also think it would have been possibly a bigger relief to some people who have more traveling that are part of their daily lives.
Sure, like the truckers and
even a family. You have someone who's making $40,000-$50,000 a year, may have a child or two, or may have a long drive to work. Yeah. I mean, that's a big expense that could have been.
Or salesman.
Or salesman, yeah.
Sometimes your job requires you to have to be on the road.
So we haven't seen yet. We haven't got anything from the Ways and Means or the House yet on what they are looking at for specific targets. Now, I know there's one thing that there was a lot of discussion on, including in the budget, which didn't get in, but which I would have been in favor of. But it wouldn't have provided the daily relief that we're talking about, and that was increasing the estate tax. Right now, it's $1 million. So if you get if someone in your family dies and they have an estate over $1 million, then it becomes taxable. Well, this day and age, $1 million isn't.
I was going to say,
isn't
between your house and your savings.
Yeah,
probably there.
So there was some discussion about making that $2 million, but I think we need everyday bread and butter type of tax reduction for people.
Thank you, Senator Moore. About the licenses for illegals.
Yes.
Do other states have to honor them?
Yeah, we have reciprocity. As far as I know, they would have to honor them. They're a license issued by Massachusetts.
And also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Senator Joe, I don't think there's any designation on those licenses. So they look exactly like everyone else's license.
So basically,
or is it,
no, it's going to be
different?
it's going to be the
so
same.
There's no way for
So-
a trooper in Rhode Island to know that.
No,
right?
so Joe, the way the change in law was explained to us and has been explained to other individuals, if you go back before the change in licensing,
The real ID.
to
That
right
one?
before the real ID,
2 minutes.
it's the same people who could get the license then will be able to get them now again. So it's going to cover that same demographic. So you're going to have to show it's a green card or an expired green card, a passport. You're going to have to show something. There's 3. I forgot what the third verification is. So it's those people who could get those previously that will now be able to get them again. Now, the other aspect too is we did have some employment industries looking for this, because where we have such a shortage of workers, we had industries coming to us and saying, we need workers, and we need workers, so they need licenses to get to work.
Right.
So besides the public safety aspect of it, with the Mass Chiefs of Police, the Mass Big City Chiefs of Police, and the District Attorneys Association, we did have some of our economic areas that needed this or advocated for this because they wanted workers.
Hey, Joe, thank you for the call. Appreciate
thank you.
it. Good stuff. So this is called the Family Mobility Act.
Yes.
All right. And it also says that non-citizen residents to travel to work, school, and participate in local economy, like you said. So there's no restrictions on the license at all. I mean, there's just a license.
No, there are restrictions.
Okay.
So the restrictions would be whether Real ID now gives you access to
No, I
these
get that,
licenses.
but they're not getting a real ID. They're
Not
getting the
exactly.
That's what I'm
old
saying.
license.
So they're not getting the Real ID.
Right. So applicants must prove mass residency.
Yep.
All right. And they do that with a bill, or I mean,
They can show through their residency,
Yeah.
where they live. They can do that through utility bills. They can do that through if they have some sort of other identification.
all right. Now here's the big one: the RMV will safeguard to ensure people are not registered to vote if they are not full lawful citizens, because we put in years ago that license you automatically
Here comes
can,
the music.
Can vote, but how do they ensure that? They
Well, the
go
registry,
for
when you go to the
registry,
when you go to the registry, you have to ask to be registered to vote.
All right, we got to take a quick break here, and we'll come back on the other side of the break, folks, with the second half of the Monday edition of Politically Speaking with Senator Mike Moore. 508-871-7000. Stick with us.
Time now for the forecast from the Boston Independence Group Weather Center. Call Jerry Doherty today at 877-772-1776. Retirement is within reach.
I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and here's the latest Boston 25 weather on Radio 830 WCRN. We've got that nice low humidity out there again today with the warm air. So it's that kind of dry heat that we all talk about. High temperatures probably get close to about 80 degrees out there. We're going to see mostly sunny skies with a few scattered clouds. And the forecast essentially repeats tomorrow before we get rain moving in for midweek. I'm meteorologist Sherry Spear, and you can hear Boston 25 live for the morning drive weekdays on AM 830 WCRN.
It's summertime, and the road is calling you. Hi, I'm Paul Koalas, president of Linders. Your perfect escape to summer fun awaits you here, where we offer the area's largest selection of late model, certified pre-owned vehicles, most still under factory warranty.
Like a 2019 Lincoln MKC Reserve all-wheel drive with just 8,000 miles for only $37,995.
For hot deals on the hottest vehicles, visit Linders on Granite Street in Worcester.
Linders, the intelligent alternative.
In a world as crazy as ours, isn't it nice to know there's one place you can visit for hours at a time to get a dose of reality, to find out how the other half is doing? Welcome to the radio home of Howie Carr. That's me. Visit anytime. 3 and 7 p.m. weekdays.
Hi, this is Jerry Doherty from Making Money Last. If you think the economy is doing well, I've got even more good news. Making Money Last will now be heard right here on WCRN 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 11 to noon. So be sure to tune in.
Didn't you get my text?
Sorry.
All right, here we go.
Don't text and drive.
This is the Joe Mangiacotti Show. We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to Joe.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Monday edition of Politically Speaking with State Senator Mike Moore. He's Worcester's second. And the first Monday of every month, the senator joins us in studio to take your calls and let us know what is happening up on Beacon Hill. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. That's 508-871-7000. Hey, don't forget our text line is also running at 617-297-8388. 617-297-8388. And that appears on the screen, and so does Text Joe on the radio at gmail.com. All right, Senator. So the Family Mobility Act, a lot of people apparently have a problem with that, although the chiefs of police came up, and I understand
the big city chiefs.
The big city.
So you would have, so basically what you're looking at, the chiefs of police that would probably have more interaction with immigrants. So
they're looking at this and saying, and I know for Framingham, for example, I mean, they had a policy. I'm not sure if it was written or just understood that they didn't even pull over when they suspected that they were here illegally because the name changes. They don't show up at the court. It ties up a lot of man hours and resources, and it's for a moving violation. Some are going to argue, well, if citizens have to get tickets and pay for it, why shouldn't they have to?
Well, I never heard that argument, but there's part of the, I guess the argument in favor of this from the police that do support this was the fact that at least this way they will be getting an identification.
Right.
Hopefully, it is of the correct identification of the individual that they were pulling over.
Yeah.
So now,
well, that's always the problem here, isn't it? That they assume this identity when they come into the country, and we even see, if we look at the reports along the border.
But you got to remember though, Joe, the people who get this at some point when they got here had a green card, had a passport.
Not all of them.
The people affected by this.
Yes. So if you came over the border illegally, you're not eligible for this.
Well, you have to. The only way you'd have to be able to produce that, you'd have to be able to produce that identification.
Yeah.
Or those the required identification. So the only way you really have to do that, I think, is going to meet that requirement. You're going to need those pieces of documentation.
Right. I got it. All right. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. 508-871-7000. I'm not sure if this worked, but do we have a caller on the air? Caller. You're on the air. Nope, we'll go back to that. It might be a pot-up issue. Anyway, 508-87. You're going to say what now?
So, well, I was just going to bounce to another topic.
Yeah,
so part of the budget process, I submitted an amendment. It's called the Harmony Montgomery Commission, and I don't know if we went over this last time we were here, but the amendment, what it does is it establishes a 27-member advocacy or 27-member special task force to look into what happened with Harmony Montgomery. She's the young 4.5-year-old that was given to her father in New Hampshire. And then when DCF went back to check on her, the father doesn't know what happened to her. So there were...
Or the mother.
Well, the mother, yeah, because the custody was given to the father.
So she didn't know either.
Right.
Of course.
So basically,
it was his responsibility.
It was his responsibility. And if you look back, so the incident went to what's called the Office of Child Advocacy,
which
was created several years ago. The last time we did a
audit, I remember
a reform of.
There were 1,000. No, I don't know if it was thousands. There were a lot of kids missing.
Right.
The DCF couldn't actually tell you.
Well, there was just a whole problem with DCF in that their caseloads were low, how they were handling cases. So there was a reform that was done. There was additional staff that was hired. And now this incident occurs, and there's, after OCA, the Office of Child Advocacy, does their investigation, it turns out there was a David Allman case a few years ago that almost had the same types of problems where the public defenders advocated on who they're the client, they're the attorneys for the client, which is the child. So in this case, you had the public defenders who argued that the child wanted to go to her father.
Yeah.
Well, she's a 4.5-year-old.
Yeah.
The child's going to want to go to one of the parents.
Yeah.
There was
Whoever
issues
lets
with,
her stay up later, eat ice cream for breakfast.
and there were
yeah.
issues that were never followed up on. The father, both parents had a substance abuse issue, or may still have.
Yeah.
The father and his attorney had argued that he was seeking treatment, that he was going through it. He was now had a job. He was remarried. He had a couple kids. Well, none of that was ever followed through on. There's also what's called an interstate compact agreement, which the requirements of that were never followed. The judge
dropping the ball all over the
place. The judge
on
made a decision based on New Hampshire law rather than Massachusetts law, but the child was here from Massachusetts. So there, in every level, there were mistakes made. So we
Montgomery was missing for how long? This was
she's still missing.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So she's still gone. She's never been found.
That it actually somebody started asking questions, because the father didn't know where the daughter was for a long time, and it wasn't until
the father never asked questions.
Right, until somebody started.
It was
saying,
when DCF went back to do it like a checkup.
So how long did it take for them to even realize she was gone?
It's good. I don't remember offhand.
I know it was like months. It was
actually longer than that.
Was it? Yeah.
It was longer than that.
Serious amount of time.
So basically, now we put together this commission based on the report that's going to contain welfare experts, legal professionals, some state legislators, but it's going to study how a child's welfare and best interest considerations are handled in care and protected cases. Basically, if you read the investigation by the OCA, the priority was putting the child back with the parent, even though the best interest or safety of the child wasn't the priority. It was reestablishing the parental rights or parental.
I get that, and I've worked with family courts in those cases on the PI side of my life, but and I know the court likes to keep a family intact and reunite the family unit when possible, but Senator, sometimes a parent is just not meant to be a parent.
Right. I think everyone agrees that the child is better with its parents, but that's providing the parents have the capability of providing the care and protection and custody.
If you're doing more damage with the child than the parent, you've got to,
Exactly. So I'm happy to say that passed as part of the Senate budget. So now we got to hope that it goes through the Senate, comes out of the conference committee, and that we'll still get a part of the budget. Some other parts of some other good things in the budget is that these are some local earmarks that I was able to get for the town of Shrewsbury, $69,000.
I saw that. Yeah.
For purchasing new voting machines. So that will.
All right. I get. I'm going to ask: are these voting machines that are connected to the internet?
I don't get into that aspect. That the town came to us.
Okay.
They are putting new equipment in. So I am trying to work with my community and getting.
I would love to know.
I'm sure. I would think that they would be approved. They have to meet the qualifications set by the Secretary of State's office.
Right.
We also got them $25,000 for a fire department. For the fire department to do physical examinations. We were able to get $10 million to extend and fund early college classes and activities for high schoolers into the summer, and another $9 million to extend the same into the summer for dual enrollment. Got $500,000 additional for the environmental police.
Wait a minute, we have environmental. I thought they got rolled in years ago.
No,
they're still
they're the only ones that stayed out. There was an initial proposal to bring them in, but they stayed separate.
Okay. So they're the ones that with the green on the cruisers and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
They have the same authority.
Right.
Same authority.
But they concentrate on waterways and
waterways, hunt and fishing. They actually patrol. They're actually the law enforcement for state parks. So when you go in there, rather than seeing a local police officer or a trooper, you'll see that
there are version of a ranger, park ranger in other states that might have a park.
Well,
ranger.
no, game warden.
Game warden.
A ranger. In other states, rangers don't have any authority. So a game warden has some states, and actually, as you were saying, there are many states that game wardens are actually part of the state police.
Yeah.
Again, in Mass, they have the same authority as the state police, except they're separate.
And of course, everybody wants to be in the livestock authority. You watch Yellowstone?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay. That's the character he created. It's called the livestock in Montana or whatever. That's their whole thing is. And actually, when the show came out and watching this, I wondered. I looked. It's a true agency in Montana, the livestock
probably
authority, and they are basically police officers. They have the badge, the gun. They have arresting powers, and they deal with any crimes that concern livestock. Horses, cows, chickens, you name it. If it's livestock, it falls under their authority.
Well, it is funny. If you go back and you look at the statute for the environmental police here in Mass, there's I forget what chapter and section it is. There's one chapter and section that allows if you remove a stone from a stone wall that's a boundary marker, they have the authority to arrest you.
Wow.
So
That's very serious, though.
Yeah, well, you got to look back at some of these. Yeah.
Well, I always talk about the old Massachusetts blue laws. Some of the ones on there are crazy, right? Spitting on the sidewalk used to be illegal, could be arrestable. And it was, I don't know if we've removed it, but it used to be that you were not an option. The old Mass blue law said you were required, or the head of the family, meaning the father in those days, right, was required to carry a long-barreled gun to church. So you had to take your rifle to church with you. Now, I don't think it's because they expected anything to happen. I think that was a safety thing because in those days, God knows what you'd encounter on the way to church.
Yeah.
Right, a bear, right, or a fox or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
And it was more, you got to protect your family, so you got to take a rifle with, they called it a long-barreled gun back in the day.
You're very good at that computer. If you Google back to Arthur J. Moore.
Is that...
That's my father, and it's going back to when I was a young kid growing up. He actually got arrested in the town of Millbury because he opened his hardware store up on a Sunday morning.
What was he thinking?
And there was another hardware store that opened up that didn't, only because they sold milk and bread and all this. So we actually took the blue laws to court and he won.
Yeah,
he's one of the first ones that got overturned.
1 minute.
Well, because back in those days, first of all, the whole Sabbath was very serious. We were Judeo-Christian founded. Everything was based on the church, right? So yeah. So look how long it took us to open. As a kid, we didn't have stores open on Sundays.
Yeah.
And I remember when that came in, and there was all this. Oh well, you got to pay them more, and they're away from their family, and everybody I knew at the time.
And again, that when that law changed, I wasn't in office. But at that point, it was deemed that they had to be paid overtime, which now actually we just did away with in the last agreement we did that was done for the overtime.
Right.
Excuse me, the increase in the minimum wage. So basically, two other things that we got in the budget: $25,000 for Veterans Inc. for a substance abuse program, and $500,000 for the city of Worcester to replace a baseball park for the kids that are losing the park.
Comes to music.
Mount Carmel closing.
That's awesome. All right, folks, we're going to take our third and final break here on the Monday edition of Politically Speaking with Senator Mike Moore. Stick with us, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. We'll be back on the other side. So we've switched to a new system last month.
Those things we most cherish are all put at risk through the improper disposal of mercury in everyday items. Fluorescent lamps, thermometers, thermostats all contain mercury. Mercury Recovery Program is designed to assist your community in the safe disposal of this heavy metal. For more information about where to dispose of these products, contact your local Board of Health, Department of Public Works, or visit our website at keepmercuryfromrising.org. Working together, we can keep our environment safe.
Attention all contractors. The Massachusetts Mercury Management Act makes it illegal to improperly dispose of old thermostats in the trash. They contain mercury that can be harmful to human health and the environment. Building and HVAC contractors, plumbers, and electricians, please properly dispose of all mercury thermostats. Contact your local health or public works department for information on where to safely dispose of thermostats in your community. Visit online, keepmercuryfromrising.org for details. Brought to you by Win Waste Innovations.
The other side of it is we've got to hit those.
1 minute. Caller Ken.
Thank you. We've got to hit
was
those
exposed to
smarts.
radio ads. Over half made a
and the other
purchase.
Part of this is now,
despite how often
every
the
show
media
is
reports
uniform,
on newer forms of
and
advertising,
say I all of a sudden
it
I
is
don't feel
in
good
fact
Wednesday.
free broadcast
We
radio.
can plug any
most
of my other shows
effectively
in and do a
reaches and
replay because
truly
they're all going to
influences
be
customers.
exactly 13-minute
Radio allows you to place your company's message directly to the radio audience for 30 or 60 seconds.
We got a 2 more minute to
and
our
it's a
segments,
gold
though.
mine. Radio
that's the end of- the net
advertisements are
result
more
is,
memorable compared to written and visual
a
ads.
better situation.
Oh, I thought we were running out of
It's just
time
this
completely when
simple.
you said 1
Sound
minute.
is
I thought
stored
we were
more
ending.
effectively
He's given
inside
a
memory.
verbal on the,
Reach over
And just for the
90%
second
of
break.
this market's
You
potential
got another
customers
14-minute
with your
segment.
radio message
Okay.
on WCRN Full Service Radio. Call station manager Chris Thompson at 508-870
Okay, here we go.
5803 extension
I was just going to
222
go over
or
some of
visit
the budget numbers.
WCRNradio.com.
This is the Joe Mangiacotti Show. We are the show you want to know. It's time to talk to you.
All right, folks, welcome back for the fourth and final segment of Politically Speaking with State Senator Mike Moore. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. It's 508-871-7000. I know we want to go over the numbers. We have a call waiting. We jump to the phone and then we'll... Good, or do you need to get something out there? Okay, so we'll jump to the phone. Ken's first. He's been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, good afternoon. You're on with Senator Mike Moore and myself. What's on your mind?
Morning, Joe and Senator Moore. I have a couple questions. I'm kind of looking out. You know, these days things are happening so fast. It's hard to look past a few weeks or months. But to the extent that for quite some time now, the Senator's been describing the largesse of money flowing through from federal sources, from state revenue, and of course that gives plenty of opportunity for the spenders to spend. But just a warning that that's going to come to an end really fast. I think inside of 7 to 8 months. For starters, at the federal level, the state's not going to be represented by the Ways and Means chair or the Rules Committee chair, which are very powerful positions. So they may be minority leaders in those positions, but that will slow some of the federal largesse. And on top of it, the pandemic's all but done, so all of that largesse is going to go away. And all of I think what's happened the past couple of years has resulted in a lot of the inflation that we're looking at, and then all of the energy issues, which is my second issue. I really want to focus in on.
Okay, can I just quickly jump in 1 second? Ken, that federal money that we are talking about, that's money that's already come to the state. So that's right. So you won't see. I'm not going to disagree about the outcome of the next elections, but you probably won't see any larger big disbursements to the state coming back. But the first $5 billion, I believe that was awarded underneath the Trump administration, and then the second one that we talked about in January was underneath the Biden administration.
Yep. But it was an overreaction. I mean, we're paying dearly at the pump for it.
Okay, no, I just wanted to give so people get an idea of what we're talking about, where the funding came from.
Yeah, but it's going to be double barreled. There's not going to be a pandemic to throw tons of money out, and then the public is going to be outraged and fed up with massive spending, and they're going to show it in November, and it's going to result in a lot of shrinkage. It's going to, wait a minute, we can't spend on every welfare program we want. Well, no, it's going to stop really fast. But the bigger issue is the power grid. We're going to have brownouts and blackouts, Senator, throughout the country, including Massachusetts. And the immediate, really big issue is whether we can get access to Pennsylvania's natural gas. I know Democrats hate fossil fuels, but natural gas is the cleanest burning of the fossil fuels, and it's readily available in Pennsylvania if the politicians would get out of the way. Now, there may be some good news. If Lee Zeldin wins the governorship in New York, that would open up the pipeline of natural gas flow to at least New York, and we border New York, and we could take advantage of that situation. But if the politicians, I don't care what party you are, aren't focused on securing adequate energy levels, our economy is going to be a mess.
Well, so Ken, just let me first, as far as the grid and the capacity, the House did a climate change bill. They sent it to the Senate. We passed it, and we expanded upon it quite a bit. The one problem we have, and you brought this up, and I brought this up during the discussions, was the capacity of the grid. Because, and I do look at, I'm not going to lie, I'm environmentalist. I believe in climate change. I believe in all the problems, and we got to reduce our CO2 emissions and all that. But having said that, I agree with your statement about natural gas. The problem we have is we can't keep putting more capacity or a need for more capacity on the power grids, yet those power grids are powered by that natural gas. So until we develop that alternative source that's going to power it, we've got to, we've got
You can't take one away without having an
exactly.
an
So we've got
alternative,
to allow some sort of fuel or the energy into the grid for them to power the capacity to meet the need.
Ken, did you have a? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying, looking from electric cars to going to an all-electric housing. I mean, there's got to be a way so that we can avoid those rolling blackouts that you talked about.
But I'm describing it, natural gas. Why can't there be more natural gas?
I said that. I said I agree. I agree with you there. That we have to find a way.
What's happening at the state level? Are they promoting natural gas?
No, they're not. We are looking at
That's a big
hydrogen.
mistake.
They're looking at hydrogen. We are looking at geothermal. We are also looking at there's nuclear fission.
Yeah.
Which is not like fusion. I don't want to get this backwards.
You don't want to blow anything up right now.
One produces the waste, and the other one doesn't. Right. So in the bill that the Senate put forward, there's incentives for more research and developing the nuclear power that doesn't produce the waste.
Absolutely. Ken, thank you for the call. I got to hold you there. We have another call, 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. John's been waiting patiently. Hey, John, you're on with Senator Moore and myself. What's on your mind?
Hey, Joe, how are you today?
Well, thank you.
Good. And Senator, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. I'd like to see if you could give us your opinion on the amendment that Joe Biden sent to the WHO, which puts them in charge of making decisions for the United States as far as any kind of diseases.
Are you familiar with the amendments?
I have. I heard of it. I haven't seen. I haven't read every line of it. I don't think we should be turning over our public health to the World Health Organization. I think as of right now, we've seen what's gone. We've seen what has gone on over the last several years with the pandemic. I think right now we should be maintaining that authority for ourselves.
Yeah.
Right now we should. Your key word was right now. Do you think it should be done in the future?
I'm not going to look unless there's a new system that's developed or something. I don't know what we're going to see an economy in a world with AI and all this things changing rapidly. So right now with the situation we have and with the governance that we see, I don't think we should turn it over. Now, if I don't want to answer for 15 years from now or 10 years from now. So the current situation they're dealing with and with the near future, we should maintain that authority.
And John,
Joe, is there any way can you get my number and call me off air?
Ted could take it.
Okay, thank you.
When we go to the bank. Thanks, John. That's right. I owe you a call, don't I? I'm sorry about that. Yeah, okay. I owe you a call. So the thing about that is, and I think John, I know he's versed in this because I know I did a couple of shows on this.
Okay.
And President Biden sent these amendments to the WHA, which is the World Health, the advisory, right? So you have the WHO and the WA, and for whatever reason, he put the amendments in to say that it would be the Secretary General of the WHO who would decide for all the member countries, which is something like 98% of the globe is in. That, and it doesn't even, and he's not even a medical doctor, he's a PhD, that there doesn't have to be any evidence of a medical pandemic or emergency. He may just suspect or think there's something, and it gives him complete authority to decide what the country, i.e. United States, he can impose mask mandates, vaccinations, shutdowns, quarantines, without even consulting the United States of America. That's completely given our sovereignty up to the WHO.
And I don't disagree with you right now. I don't think that's something that we should entertain. All I'm saying is that I am not going to answer for 10 years down the road or 15, but I do. And
the premise, should the United States of America give our sovereignty up to anyone else? Yeah, I think it's a pretty quick, simple answer. It should be. So, I mean, this is all connected, because we've got Davos going on at the same time. We've got this reset, right? The one world order reset that has been this effort for generations at this point, trying to do it. Now, the problem with this is instead of the rest of the world cannot come up to the level, the living standard of the United States, cannot come up to our medical, cannot come up to our economy. So in order for everything to be equal, that means the United States has to come down in the quality of our life. And Joe Biden, the president, said it last week about we're going through this transition right now, talking about the gas prices.
Right.
It's very painful, but it's going to be worth it at the end when we, what he was saying is when we force you, when we put so much pain on you to drive a car and force you to buy an electric car, it's going to be worth it on the other end. I don't think Americans in our DNA are programmed to accept the stick opposed to the carrot. And when we're told that we're going to put you through pain so you behave the way we want you to behave, that goes through the American citizen's DNA, I think.
Look, even the price of gas can go to $5 or can go stay at $4, or I think the average is now $5. The bottom line is the future is going to more.
Absolutely
Right.
But
I don't think
done.
that stick is needed right now.
Oh no, it is, because the car is $65,000. And then you got to pay the sales tax and the excise tax. Then you got to put a charger in your house. So the average American who's living paycheck to paycheck can't go out and buy a $60,000+ car.
I mean, I'm talking about the stick of having gas now. Get gas at $8 a gallon. Look, the good example is the climate change bill that we did in the Senate. There is tax incentives for individuals to buy electric vehicles, so that doing just what you say, just to reduce the costs. So until the vehicles can come down, if the bill were to go through the Senate, there's tax incentives to buy the vehicle.
All right, let me see. You're talking to a guy who has had many, and you know, I collect cars, I like cars, so I did combustion. Would I like electric car? Hell yeah, because have you ever seen one of those things move? They are fast and they're cool. And I have nothing against them. I would love one. But I'm talking, who cares what I love? I'm talking about you're forcing the entire country to do something we're not ready for yet. Let us get to there.
But you have to look at it, go with the organically. You have to look at the legislations that have been filed, move us in those directions. It's not saying as of tomorrow this is happening.
But the president made it clear that
30
they
seconds.
like the gas prices where they are so that it hurts us. Is the bottom line on that.
That may be more political right now because they are where they are.
Yeah.
I don't know of any president that would mind, or any official that would mind seeing the gas prices go down.
Well, I think Biden right now doesn't want it. I absolutely think that he wants it to hurt.
10
he
seconds.
Said he does. Roll where they can reach you.
My office is 617-722-1485. It's the phone number, and the email is Michael.
Here's the music
at masenate.gov.
All right, I'll wrap up today, folks. I'll be back on Wednesday at 1:00, and sitting in for Jerry Doherty Wednesday at 11:00 as well, folks. And of course, Political Thursday, 10:00 on Thursday. Have a great day. Farewell.
This is Full Service.